doing? I'm at Shorncliffe, a smashing wee place on the northern tip of Brisbane in Queensland, and I must say, it's a most pleasant location. Back in 1823, a chap by the name of John Oxley, a British explorer, came ashore here on this very spot, and he surveyed the place before moving on to discover the Brisbane River. I think he'd be impressed with what's become of it. It's a cosy little village cut off from the hurly-burly of the rest of Brisbane. There's some charming wee houses here, many built in the late 1800s, and it brings a certain old world sophistication into the present day, and there's something to be said about that. There were these two English explorers who'd pulled ashore on a Pacific island, and they were soon captured by cannibals and placed in a big pot of water, and the cannibals began to boil up the water so as to cook them. And one of the Englishmen began to laugh. He's going, and the other one said, "Why are you laughing? We're about to die. You can't be laughing when you're going to die." And the other Englishman said, "I just urinated in their soup." This is St. Patrick's College in Shorncliffe, a Catholic school for boys, and it's situated overlooking Bramble Bay. And there's Shorncliffe Pier. It's a brilliant looking thing, don't you think? Which kind of reminds me of the seaside towns in Scotland, you know. And this is Morven, the main building. It was built in 1866 and it's named after the Scottish town of Morven. In the early 20th century it became derelict and deserted and was even rumoured to have a resident ghost. The Christian Brothers took over this place in 1952 when it became a college, and it's grown and changed tremendously since then. I hated school myself when I was a boy, but I think I could become very comfortable with the physical surroundings here. When I was at school in Glasgow, it was a very violent place, you know. "Connolly, come here, you stupid boy!" And whack! And thump and whack! 7-6 is Connolly. No, it's 42. Come here and I'll belt you. What's the capital of Spain? No, you're wrong. It's Madrid. I'll bash your lights out. Fucking nightmare. Come and I'll introduce you to someone very special. This is good old St. Patrick himself, who's been watching over the place and he hasn't aged at all. In days gone by, the boys were often frog-marched by the ear and made to stand in front of St. Patrick. They'd hang their head in penance for their recalcitrance for the duration of their lunch recess. I have a feeling St. Patrick has softened somewhat in today's climate. This is Sandgate Town Hall, and it's an impressive piece of architecture, I must tell you. It was built in 1911 and being set in the centre of the now digital age with robotics and GPS voices and electronic alarms and smartwatches and such. It's nice to know that everyone for miles around can still hear this. Yes! I love it! The main street of Sandgate itself is lined with high street shops, just like the ones from times gone by. There's banks and boutiques and cake shops, but across the road there's a wee lagoon with an elegant wee walk bridge and native birds. It's a fantastic place and extremely rare to be found in suburban setting these days. I must show you this. Isn't it a brilliant thing? Don't you wish you had one yourself? I want one in my house. It's a stainless steel representation of fire, and it symbolises the great event that took place on the night of 18th June in the bicentennial year of 1988.
thousands of beacon fires were lit, starting at Botany Bay in Sydney and forming a daisy chain going right round the continent in celebration of the coming of the tall ships to these shores. Don't you just love it?
What's the difference between a politician and a garden snail? One is slimy and a pest, and it leaves a trail everywhere. And the other one is a snail.
We're here on Flinders Parade. It's named after Matthew Flinders, the British navigator and cartographer, and I think you'd be well pleased with that. The main attraction of Sandgate, above all else, the big draw card that brings people from all over to this magnificent locality, is its foreshore. It used to be lined with dilapidated old shacks and tumble-down houses, but wealthy people have discovered it, and that an ocean view is worth shelling out a few bob for. I couldn't agree more. So that's Sandgate. You must come here. I've had a grand old time showing you bits of it, and I hope you take the trouble sometime soon. I'm told the fishing here is great, so I'm off now to throw a line in and see if I can't catch a whiting or two. I'll see you later.